Dr. Lusane, when it comes to the admissions process, what sorts of things show that a student has genuine interest in attending American University?
Well, there are a lot of things that happen. One is that students will often make direct calls to professors. If they're interested in a specific program, for example, or studying with a specific professor around a specific topic, they will directly call the professor and say, you know, I'm interested in African American studies, I'm interested in international relations, can you tell me about the program, what classes would I have to take, how long would the program last? And so just their own initiative gives you some indication. And then once you get the application, as you start to go through it, particularly as you look at their personal statement, then you have a sense again of also how much they're interested in American University.
And still on the admissions process, when it comes to the application process, what do you deem to be the most important part of the application?
For me, it's really kind of the students' own ideas, the students' own way of putting into their own words, why they want to come to a particular school, why they want to be in a particular program, and then what do they see beyond that in terms of their life objectives, their career objectives, because the personal statements often go beyond just why they want to be in school, but what they see following getting this particular education. And so for me, that's really significant.
Now, we assume that students make the best impression if they get a chance to have a one-on-one interview with an admissions officer, especially pertaining to the schools of their choice. Do you feel, though, that this puts international students at a disadvantage because the majority of them can't fly here in the summertime to sit down in an on-campus interview?
Potentially, it could disadvantage students who don't have that opportunity. But I think it's important, if you're an admissions officer or you're a faculty member, that you see the value of having a face-to-face with someone, but you don't let that be determinant. Because some students and some individuals are just exceptionally charming and very charismatic, and they're very good at one-on-one encounters. But there are also people who are not. And so you may have a student who's absolutely great, has great potential, but they may not have the social skills or the techniques so that when they sit down and talk with you individually, they really can sell themselves well. So you really have to take into account a whole range of factors that will add to, but again, I don't think should necessarily be determinant.
It sounds like maybe Skype will someday be in the picture and perhaps help to enhance the international students' chances.
With students, these days students take advantage of all those new technologies, from Skype to sending videos of themselves. So there are a lot of different ways that students have, in brilliant kinds of ways. They send you PowerPoint presentations of themselves. They have been able to reach out to faculty members to admission processes that were impossible to do in the past. And that all really is very helpful, because it really does show you the creativity of students, their ingenuity, their initiative, their aggressiveness about trying to get into a school. So all of that's to the good. And so I really appreciate having that opportunity to have those kinds of exchanges with students.
Now, Dr. Lusane, when you think about the number of essays that come into American University during each application phase, do you honestly read all the essays that you receive, or you only read the ones where it's a borderline case of do we admit them, do we reject them?
I read them all.
Okay.
As I said earlier, to me they're important, but they're also interesting. And to me, it's almost relaxing to have a sense of, for this particular generation, for this particular year, what are the students saying, right? What are they thinking about? What are their points of references? What are they interested in politically, socially, in terms of their careers? What has been their life experiences that's being reflected? So I always find these essays fascinating. So I read every single one that comes across my desk, and I think most of my colleagues do as well.
Well, it's refreshing to know that you are reading them. You've doused my curiosity about that. I wonder about some of the other schools, but nevertheless, it's good to know that you take them seriously and value them.
Very serious.
Great. Now, I have a final question for you about the application process. How have you seen applicants applying to American University? How have you seen applicants shoot themselves in the foot in the whole process?
Well, I think the biggest mistake that students can have is to not be honest and to inflate their resumes, inflate their experiences, inflate their grades, because generally you can see through that. The most important thing, I think, is for students to be honest and, as much as possible explain where they think they're headed in terms of their career and in terms of what they want to get out of the education process.